There's one action that terrifies narcissists more than anger, revenge, or confrontation. It's not what you say. It's what you stop doing. When you withdraw your energy completely, no reactions, no debates, no emotional engagement, their world begins to collapse, because without your attention, they don't exist. And that silence, that's the beginning of their end. Narcissists are like emotional black holes. They suck in your time, energy, and feelings. But they can't generate love or connection themselves. They depend on your reactions to feel powerful. So when you stop reacting, when you go silent, calm, and unshakable, their power source vanishes. And for the first time, they face something they can't control: irrelevance. You've tried arguing, explaining, crying, proving yourself. Nothing worked. Why? Because narcissists don't care about truth, only dominance. So instead of fighting them on their battlefield, you change the game. You refuse to play. You don't block in rage. You disappear in peace. And that quiet exit? That's what destroys their illusion of control forever. The moment you stop chasing closure, validation, or apology, you win. Narcissists thrive on keeping you emotionally hooked, begging for answers, replaying memories, hoping they'll change. But when you walk away without drama, without explanation, without looking back, you break the cycle. And they can't rebuild it because you're no longer part of the story. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's the ultimate boundary. Every unanswered message, every ignored call, every unread text is a brick in the wall between you and their toxicity. And the more consistent you are, the higher that wall becomes. They may scream, guilt trip, or love bomb, but if you stay silent, the door stays closed. Forever. What makes this so powerful is permanence. Most people leave, then return. They forgive, they hope, they fall back in. But when your silence is unwavering, year after year, it proves you're serious, you're not coming back. And that finality, that's what shatters their confidence, because now they've truly lost control and can't get it back. They may replace you quickly, another source of supply, but they'll never forget you. Not because they love you, but because you were the one who got away, the one who didn't beg, the one who didn't break, the one who chose peace over chaos. That memory haunts them, not with grief, but with defeat. Your silence forces them to face reality, something they avoid at all costs. Without your attention, they're left alone with their emptiness. No mirror for their grandiosity, no audience for their performance. In that quiet, they might briefly see the truth. They're not special. They're just lonely. And that awareness, that's irreversible. One of the most dangerous things for a narcissist is consistency. When you stay gone, when you live well, when you thrive without them, it proves their irrelevance. They can smear you, lie about you, pretend you never mattered. But your silence speaks louder. You're not angry. You're free. And freedom is contagious. They hate your silence because they can't control the narrative. When you speak, they twist your words. When you stay silent, they invent lies to fill the gap. They'll tell others you're bitter, broken, jealous. But deep down they know the truth. You've moved on. And that truth, that's what eats at them. Slowly, silently, permanently. Your calmness becomes their nightmare. They expect tears. They expect rage. They expect desperation. But when you respond with peace, with clarity, with zero need for them, it destabilizes them, because their entire identity is built on drama. And you've removed the stage. Their performance has no audience. This isn't about revenge. It's about self-preservation. Every word you spend on them drains you. Every argument wastes your life. Silence protects your energy. It's not punishment, it's healing. And the stronger you become, the weaker their hold gets. Until one day they realize they've lost you forever. They may try everything: love bombing, fake apologies, pity plays, third-party messages. But if you stay silent, none of it works. Because you've seen the script before, you know the lines. And this time, you're not auditioning, you're not even watching, you've left the theater. and they can't perform without you. Silence ends the abuse cycle. Narcissistic relationships follow a loop. Idealize, devalue, discard, repeat. Your silence freezes it. No more forgiveness. No more reopening wounds. No more second chances. You break the chain, and without your participation, the system collapses. Healing doesn't come from closure. It comes from cutting ties. You don't owe them closure. Closure isn't given. It's taken. And you take it by living well without them. By smiling again. By loving again. By thriving. Your silence isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new life. One where you're the hero, not the victim. And that story? It writes itself. Some think silence is cruel. But cruelty is manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional abuse. Silence. That's self-care. It's the kindest thing you can do, and for yourself and eventually for them. Because love shouldn't destroy you. And sometimes love looks like walking away, quietly, completely, and without regret. When you stay silent, you reclaim your voice, not to shout at them, but to speak kindly to yourself, to set boundaries, to ask for what you deserve. Your silence today builds the foundation for a louder, healthier voice tomorrow. Healing isn't about noise. It's about knowing your worth without saying a word. Narcissists thrive in chaos. Yours, your pain, your confusion, your tears. When that stops, their world goes dark. They wave, shout, dance, but no one's watching. And that feeling of invisibility? That's their worst fear. You didn't defeat them. You just stopped seeing them. And that's power. Silence is not isolation. It's reconnection. With your soul, you start journaling, meditating, creating. You rediscover passions buried under years of emotional labor. And in that solitude, you find strength you never knew you had. Because peace isn't found in approval. It's found in presence. And you're finally present. They may try to lure you back with nostalgia, old memories, or fake vulnerability. But your silence holds firm. You don't need a reminder. You lived it. And you know the cycle will repeat. So you stay quiet, not out of anger, but out of clarity. Love shouldn't come with conditions or chaos. You deserve better. Every unanswered message, every ignored call, every unread text. It's not personal. It's protection. You're not punishing them. You're saving yourself. And the more consistent you are, the deeper your healing becomes. Silence isn't revenge. It's rebirth. And every quiet day is a step toward freedom. People may pressure you to just talk it out. But there's nothing to resolve. You've already said everything with your silence. You've communicated your boundary, your decision, your finality. And some truths don't need words. They just need action. Your silence is complete. Let it stand. Silence disrupts their identity. They define themselves by their relationships, especially the ones they control. When you vanish, they lose a role. The savior, the victim, the genius. Without you to play opposite, their persona wobbles. And that instability? That's your freedom. You didn't break them. You broke their illusion. You don't need to explain why you're silent. Explanations invite debate. Debate invites manipulation. Your silence is complete. It doesn't require justification. It stands on its own. Strong, clear, and unshakable. And that certainty? That's what they can't survive. Truth doesn't shout, it simply is. Over time, your silence becomes legend. She never replied. He never looked back. That story spreads, not because you wanted it to, but because peace is rare. And in a world full of noise, someone who walks away quietly becomes unforgettable. Your silence echoes louder than their lies. Silence teaches you patience, not with them, but with yourself. Healing isn't linear. Some days you miss them, some nights you cry, but you still stay silent, because you know temporary pain is better than eternal suffering, and every quiet day is a step toward real freedom. You're doing it right. They may trash talk you endlessly, but your silence protects your reputation. You're not dragged into mudslinging. You're not caught in lies. You remain dignified. And in time, people notice. The quieter person is often the truer one. Your integrity speaks for itself, without a single word. Silence isn't indifference. It's deep understanding. You finally see they can't change, you can't fix them, and you don't have to. You only have to save yourself. And that realization, that's what makes silence so peaceful and so powerful. You're not giving up. You're letting go. When you stop responding, they often ghost you first, a last attempt to regain control. But you're not fooled. You let them, because you know the truth. The person who leaves without explanation is usually the one afraid of being left. Your silence made them run. And that's victory. Your silence creates space for miracles, new love, new purpose, new joy. Opportunities appear because your energy is no longer trapped in a toxic loop. You start attracting peace, not pain. And that shift? That's not luck, that's liberation. You made room for light by removing darkness. You don't need revenge. Revenge keeps you tied to them. Your silence is freedom. Living well is the ultimate response. Laughing freely, sleeping peacefully, loving openly. That life, the one they tried to destroy, is your strongest statement. You're not fighting them. You're building a future they'll never be part of. Silence builds inner authority. You learn to trust yourself again, your gut, your instincts, your worth. You no longer seek validation from those who never gave it. You validate yourself every day with every quiet choice. That's how true confidence is born. In stillness, not noise. They may never admit they were wrong, but your silence ensures they can't pretend you were the problem. Time reveals truth. And as you heal and grow, the imbalance becomes obvious. The healthiest person was the one who walked away. Quietly, completely, and without regret. That's how legends are made. Silence is not the end of love. It's the end of delusion. You loved them, but you loved the idea more than the reality. Now, you love truth. And truth says, some people aren't meant to stay. They're meant to teach you what peace feels like, by showing you its opposite. Thank them. Then walk. You don't have to be proud of your silence, but you can be proud of surviving, of choosing sanity over drama, of putting yourself first, not out of ego, but out of necessity. That courage, that's what changes lives. And one day, someone else will find strength in your quiet example. Let your silence be your shield. Let it protect your heart, your mind, your future. Don't break it for a text, a call, or a moment of loneliness. Because on the other side of silence is a life you forgot was possible. Full, free, and finally yours. Keep going. Stay silent. Stay strong. People may call you cold, but cold hearts don't heal. Yours is warm. It's just no longer burning for them. You've redirected your fire into building a life where respect isn't begged for. It is expected. You're not heartless. You're healed. And that warmth, it's reserved for those who deserve it. Silence is the language of boundaries, and when spoken consistently, it becomes law. No negotiation, no exceptions, no second chances, just peace. And peace, once claimed, is nearly impossible to steal back. You've drawn the line. Now live behind it, safely, proudly, freely. So if you're considering silence, do it. Not out of anger, but out of love for yourself. Block, mute, walk away. Say everything by saying nothing. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Let your stillness be your strength. Let your quiet be your revolution. Remember, your silence isn't empty. It's full of strength, wisdom, and quiet revolution. And while they scream into the void, you're already free. Keep going. Stay silent. Stay strong. Your peace is worth every word you'll never say again. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of everything you deserve. They may try to make you feel guilty for leaving, but guilt is their weapon. You didn't abandon them. You saved yourself. And self-preservation isn't selfish, it's survival. The world needs more people who choose peace over poison. You're not the villain. You're the wake-up call. Your silence teaches others what healthy boundaries look like. Friends, family, even strangers may start questioning toxic patterns in their own lives. You didn't preach. You didn't argue. You just lived differently. And that example? That's how change begins. Quietly, powerfully, authentically. They can't handle your growth. Watching you thrive without them breaks their narrative. They told everyone you were broken, dependent, unstable. But now you're happy, confident, free. And that contradiction? That exposes their lies, not through words, but through your life. Truth wins by existing. No therapy, no apology, no grand gesture can undo what your silence has done. You've shown them the one thing they can tolerate, life moving on without them. And that image, you smiling, whole, untouched, becomes their permanent shadow. Not because you haunt them, because they failed to break you. You don't need to watch their downfall. Whether they spiral or pretend to heal, it's no longer your concern. Your job was to leave, to heal, to live, and you're doing it. That's enough. More than enough. That's victory. Quiet, complete, and unshakable. Let this be a lesson to anyone still trapped. You don't need permission to leave. You don't need closure. You don't need their agreement. You just need one decision, and the courage to stick with it. Silence isn't surrender. It's sovereignty. The most powerful people aren't the loudest. They're the ones who walk away with dignity, who heal in private, who rise without revenge. Your silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And wisdom, in a world full of noise, is the rarest and strongest force of all. If you're healing, keep going. Some days will hurt, but don't mistake pain for failure. Healing isn't the absence of pain, it's the presence of growth. And every silent day is proof you're becoming someone they can never control again. They may never understand what you did, but you do, and that's all that matters. You saw the trap, you felt the drain, and you chose yourself. That choice, simple, quiet, firm, changed everything. You didn't fight the storm, you became the calm. So to anyone ready to break free, do it. Not for them, not for drama, but for you. Withdraw your energy, speak with your actions, live so well that your absence becomes their greatest fear. Because the most powerful thing you can do to a narcissist is stop being their reflection. Forever.